Well, guys, Major League Baseball, Championship Series, National League, and the American League, they've been, if nothing else, just given us plenty of drama to wrap our heads around here, which is great because we love this time of year. And nobody better to talk baseball with than Scott Miller, Bleacher Report, lead MLB writer. He joins us via the Miami Acura hotline. And, Scott, let's start with the story that seems to somehow or another gotten buried rather quickly by Major League Baseball. Do we have a Spygate situation here with the Astros? Did they take a page out of the New England Patriots book or no?
You know, you talk to people around the game, they say yes. The Astros deny. But, you know, what do you expect? Baseball, the official word is no, because baseball claims it's investigated and it's put the matter to bed. And basically, you move on. There's nothing to see here.
Yeah, well, the problem is that we've got a lot of Major League Baseball teams that are scratching their head. Actually, a lot of Major League Baseball teams have no problem, I guess, coming out at this point and being very disappointed with Major League Baseball's just open and shut case of this.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I mean, look, it's not just the Astros. Baseball's going to have to get a handle on technology because, you know, I mean, there are a lot of teams that you know, use digital stuff, and you know, other teams than the Astros are accused. You know, there's a lot of paranoia. Let's put it this way, Joe. There are a lot of teams accuse teams other than the Astros of doing the same thing. You know, the Astros seem to be at the forefront of the accusations, but you know, they're certainly not alone.
And Scott Miller joining us at Scott Miller, BBL, BleacherReport.com. Scott, let me ask you this, because you wrote a pretty interesting article last night. Joe West decides to come in and he tells the whole world that, yes, we've got fan interference. People are going crazy. But your point of view was, you know what? They got to get a handle on this whole replay system because in your eyes, it's broke. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, how often do we hear about pace of play issues? You know, replay takes too long, and it doesn't always get things right. I mean, look at that play last night. I mean, there are still people today raging, saying, you know, look, that was not fan interference. The ball was on the fan side of the wall. There are other people who say the replay was inconclusive. You know, the replay officials that looked it over say inconclusive, and so they let Joe West call stand. You know, after all this, there was not a definitive camera angle last night. And, you know, it seems pretty elementary on a boundary call. There's got to be cameras that run along the walls or that can give you a better angle and better view than what we got last night, where everybody comes away, you know, unsatisfied, except, you know, obviously the Red Sox were thrilled. The Astros were livid.
And I'm wondering, Scott Miller, here you are now. The Astros find themselves in a big hole, down 3-1. Can they rattle off 3 victories against a team that won 108 games this year, and a couple of those games having to be on the road at Fenway? Is it possible, or is this series over?
It's possible. I mean, I certainly you'd like to be in the Red Sox shoes. But, you know, look, the Astros have Justin Verlander going tonight. So you could look at tonight's game and say, you know, and David Price is going on short rest for the Red Sox. You know, you could say advantage Verlander and the Astros. That gets it back to to Boston. You know, then you would have Dallas Keuchel going. You got Garrett Cole going. I mean, with Verlander, Cole, and Keuchel, you can't say the series is over.
And do we have any idea what's going on with Chris Sale? Again, another illness, hospitalized, feeling better. Now, he would have been going tonight instead of David Price. Do we have any update on him?
Yeah, the Red Sox say he's going to be fine. He lost a little bit of weight. He's recovering from that stomach situation, and you know they like his. You know, I think if it was if the Red Sox were down 3-1 instead of up 3-1, I think maybe you'd see him push Chris Sale. Maybe he'd go tonight, but you know, right now they're playing it safe. Give him an extra day or two.
Scott Miller joining us, BleacherReport.com, MLB writer. Let's switch to the National League game. Dodgers now up 3-2. What the hell happened to Dodgers? All of a sudden, they led the National League in home runs. They love the long ball, and now they're up 3-2 because they've done nothing but play small ball better than anybody else. What's with the Dodgers, Scott?
Well, I mean, the credit the Dodgers for their versatility, because you're right. During the season, it was all or nothing: home run, home run, home run, or strikeout. They ranked way down at the bottom of the league in batting average with runners in scoring position, for example. But that said, you're right. They've veered a little bit towards small ball, and it's helped them against the Brewers. And you've got to be able to play that way in October, because you're facing the very best pitching. And if all you're going to do is hit home runs and not be able to do anything else, you're not going to last in October, because it's funny how the home runs come a lot more during the regular season when you're facing the pitching staff of the San Diego Padres and teams like that than when you're facing the top shelf pitchers of playoff ball.
It's so true there. And, one of the other narratives that I look at, Scott, with the Milwaukee Brewers, they send out Wade Smiley there for one batter, then they take him out. And not just the Brewers, but has baseball just gotten too smart for their own good? Are we getting too crafty here with all the analytics?
Well, I mean, it plays out over time. I think in terms of what the Brewers are doing with their pitching, you couldn't do that over a 162-game season, because you'd burn out the relief pitchers. There's just no way it would last. In the playoffs, you're seeing all kinds of different pitching moves. I mean, it's like last night. Eduardo Rodriguez for the Red Sox was lined up to start Game 5 tonight. Well, they used him in relief last night. They had David Price warming up. In these short series, more and more teams have moved toward being creative and imaginative with their pitchers. And, that the Brewers have to by necessity, because if you line up their rotation with Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, Hyun-Jin Ryu, or pretty much with any other team in the playoffs, their rotation does not stack up. So, they've got that great bullpen. They've moved guys around. Credit to Craig Counsell. They've done what they've needed to do, and it's been very successful.
And how about Manny Machado? Is Manny Machado the villain Major League Baseball needs right now? Because every sport needs him. The NBA needs him. The NFL needs him. But doesn't Major League Baseball need a villain like Manny Machado?
You're right. Villains help stir excitement and sell sports, and Manny Machado's the perfect guy right now. That was pretty much universally panned, his kicking of Peyton Sagan the other night. And, Manny seems to be fine with it. He's not admitted doing anything wrong. He's not going to change his style. He's already told us hustling's not his cup of tea. So he plays a little differently, and, there are going to be people taking their shots at Manny.
Yeah, there are, certainly. Now, unlike the Astros, who've dug themselves a pretty big hole, the Brewers, to me, the Brewers and the Dodgers, it still feels like this can go any way. Are we right in thinking that way?
Yeah, I mean, you have to like the Dodgers' chances right now for a couple of reasons. One, they're up 3-2, obviously. Secondly, the Brewers had Game 2 in the bag, and they let it get away in the late innings with just a couple of outs to go. The extra inning game the other night, the Brewers had a chance to win, several chances to win. You could argue that the Brewers could have swept the Dodgers. I'm not sure by giving away 2 games, Game 2 and the extra inning game. I'm not sure you can beat the Dodgers if you continue to give them extra chances. So we'll see. The one thing the Brewers have going in their favor, of course, is going back to Milwaukee and for Game 6 and/or 7.
Yeah, well, it's listen, it's a lot's got to play out yet tonight. You got the Astros, you got Boston. You got to follow Bleacher Report, Scott Miller. Make sure you guys follow him. Hit him up on Twitter. Nobody covers the game quite like he does. And Scott, I appreciate your time, my friend. Thank you very much. Enjoy the games, and we'll do this again soon.
Sounds good. My pleasure, Joe. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Scott Miller, BleacherReport.com.